You listen to the rest. Now it's time to listen to the best. Real Talk Sports, where these pro sport analysts do more than get in front of the throws. They never miss a catch or a call. No matter the sport, they always have the right call. Not just entertaining, it's the true sports fans forecasting guide. Feel free when you cash in or let it ride. With Real Talk Sports by your side, that is. Just to keep the ball bouncing even more. It's two-way talk with live question and review. So be sure to listen in on the new WIGO.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we are back here live in the studios of Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO AM 1570 on your dial. You also can find us broadcasting to you anywhere in the world online at WIGOAM.com or at realtalksports.net. Just click on the Listen Live button, and you will find us broadcasting to you. Now, the good news is if you're mobile, iOS or Android power does not matter. Put in the TuneIn radio application, put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, or better yet, put in Real Talk Sports, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. Well, you know, the second and the fourth Monday, we always do something a little different. You know, guys, we like to bring the ladies in. Always a beautiful thing. And as usual, I have another beautiful lady here joining us this evening. She is not just beautiful, but she is knowledgeable because she loves football. She is a coach's daughter, and she has gone on to matriculate at such wonderful universities like right down the road in the Flats at Georgia Tech, and she now is on the board of the FAMU Foundation. The lovely Miss Elaine Armster, welcome to our show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited. This has been a while in the making. We've been trying to get this busy lady in. She's up and down across the country, and she's decided to take a little bit of her brief holiday time to spend a little time with the preacher in the booth. So we're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, look, you know, we have the young gun here. He is now a permanent part of our broadcast here. At least I shouldn't say permanent. He's here for a while. I know that as he grows, he will at some point leave us, but we're thankful to have him here. Has a wonderful outfit called Blessed Coast. He's a former Forest Park standout on the hardwood. Mr. Ashton Reynolds, what's up, man?
What's going on now? I'm just thankful to be here once again another week, and just thankful for all the opportunities and things like that.
Well, man, we're thankful for you and, you know, all the things that you're doing. And certainly in the Community Outlook segment, we're going to have you talk about what you do at Blessed Coast. And then we're going to have Elaine give us a little bit of an update and talk a little bit about what she does at the FAMU Foundation. Speaking of FAMU, for those of you who are living in a cave, we have breaking news. Well, it's not really breaking news, but it's coming up very shortly. Celebration Bowl, SWAC against the MEAC. And for those of you who are not familiar with HBCUs, that is the Southwest Athletic Conference against the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, champion from the MEAC. North Carolina A&T, stout defensive team. Matter of fact, sat on top of Sheridan's own black college football poll for most of the year, squaring off against Alcorn State, who got to the SWAC in a thriller. Beat a legendary SWAC team, Grambling, in overtime to take the SWAC championship after losing to Grambling in the regular season. So Alcorn State is back against North Carolina A&T. Both those teams, Elaine, no stranger to Atlanta.
No stranger to Atlanta, and we'd like to salute both of those fine universities. It's excellent to have two fine representatives of both the SWAC and the MEAC to represent us in this inaugural bowl.
And they did something pretty nifty. This is an event sponsored by ESPN Events, and they have decided to make this the very first bowl to kick off the bowl season. And like the showdown at OK Corral is going to start at high noon in the Georgia Dome right here in Atlanta. And we look forward to being down there to giving you guys some coverage of that event. And matter of fact, later on today, for those of you who might be financially challenged, no problem. We have tickets. That's right. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets to the Celebration Bowl. And so listen, you Periscopers that are just tuning in to us as we are broadcasting live video on Periscope, go ahead and send in. If you go to my Twitter page, at TalkSportsATL, you can click on the link. Now Miss Armster is just slightly out of camera view, but we're going to get her in here in just a second. So there she is. See that beautiful face? Look at that. Look at that hair. Isn't that lovely, boys? Amen. Well, anyway, you can see us all in Periscope. I'm going to need you to call in if you're interested in the tickets. You have to call in the call-in line 404-361-1571, or you can also call us at 404-361-1570, and you can reach us there, and we'll be giving away 2 tickets to the Celebration Bowl. Also want to give you some more updates, and this one's a little bit further away, but that's okay. Mark your calendars. As you know, the College Football Championship is being played on January the 11th, 2016. And if the Lord so will, we will be broadcasting live, not from there, but we will be broadcasting live from our favorite spot, our new partner, the Burger Theory Restaurant, brand new sports grill right here inside the Holiday Inn Suites in Stockbridge, Georgia, 638 Highway 138. We'll be doing a pregame and live broadcasting. We'll be on WIGO. We'll be on Periscope. And so those of you who want to eat for free, that's the other thing. Call in, and I will cover your meal. Because we're going to be there for a minute enjoying, like I said, the pregame, and then we're going to launch right into the game itself. Who knows who will be playing in that game? We have some worthy contestants in the college football playoff, and we'll be talking about that in just a little bit. Again, you've tuned in to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you right here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570 on your dial. Well, actually, look, man, was a good weekend, nice, warm. What did you do this weekend?
This weekend I was actually out of town in Orlando, Florida, enjoying the weather down there with the family and stuff like that. It was amazing out there.
In Orlando.
Yeah. Still put in some work, though, despite it being a vacation. Got a lot of work done still, especially even on the basketball course. I actually did a little small video, and it went viral on social media, actually. So it was fun.
Well, we're gonna have to put that up on the Real Talk Sports page so everybody can kind of see how we do it here in the A and how we do it with the young guns. And so that's the one thing that's nice about the young man. That you notice he immediately, when I said something about vacation, he cleaned up. No, I was working. It
was a working vacation.
Right, working. I was cutting videos. I was doing all types of things. Doing everything to promote my brand.
And you know what's funny though? I try to take some time off and things like that, but it's funny though when your hobbies become work and things like that. It just re-energizes me no matter where I am, no matter how fatigued I am. I just get re-energized, and I just have to do something. So no matter where I am.
Well, there you go. Isn't that?
That's wonderful. And to represent the ladies, we did our part, and I participated in stimulating the economy for the Christmas season. So I'm very proud to participate in the 2015 Christmas stimulus.
Amen.
Representing all the ladies out there who did similarly this weekend.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, boys. Now, you folks on radio can't see this, but you periscopers notice that there is a green bag. Always good when the ladies come bearing gifts. Amen.
Yes.
Isn't that nice? Oh, well, listen, we appreciate all those of you who are tuning in to join us. I want to ask this question. The other news during the weekend was not football related. We will talk about that. But in basketball, we had a team that was rolling with a big 0 at the end of their record. And finally, the streak is over. Golden State loses to, of all people, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow.
Ashton, right?
Well, I kind of saw it coming due to the fact that the night before they had a tough game with the Boston Celtics. They went into 2 overtimes and had a depleted roster due to the fact that Klay Thompson's out with injury and Harrison Barnes out with injuries. But they still managed to pull it out from Boston. And for them to go to Boston, from Boston to Milwaukee, playing back-to-backs and things like that, it was bound to happen. And actually, I was joking with one of my friends. I said, you know what, maybe the Bucks might get them. But when it became reality, I was just like, oh, well, it happened.
Yeah, it was, I don't say a complete shocker, but again, they did come in, as you mentioned, depleted. Final score, Milwaukee 108, Golden State 95. Really, it was an issue of the second half, really kind of got them. 28 points in that fourth quarter, outscored 28-18. Right. And that's kind of really what it kind of gets you is in those late activities, and Milwaukee did exactly what you had to do. Outscored them 29-20 in the second quarter, and outscored them 28-18 in the fourth quarter, and that was really the big difference in the game. Doing what you need to do at the end of the game to put it out of reach. So again, the streak is over. Warriors done, but like I said, it just looked bad to see Warriors 24-1. Milwaukee Bucks had not even won 10 games yet, 10-15. But that's just. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. And really the big key in that game was a guy that many people felt the Hawks should have done a bigger job in trying to get here. Greg Monroe had a big game, 28 points, 11 rebounds, a couple of blocks, and that was really the big difference for the Bucks. He really dominated down low. I can't pronounce this guy's name, but the young African, can you hit it for me? Antetokounmpo, did I get that right?
The Greek Freak. That's
Greek
what they call
Freak, yeah.
it. The Greek Freak.
Okay, I got it wrong. But that long now. I thought he was from Africa. But anyway, yeah, the Greek Freak. He also had 12 rebounds and another 11 points. But that really was the key. Carter Williams, 17 points to round out the scoring for the Bucks. But like I said again, just the depleted roster for Golden State, as you pointed out, was really the big difference, as the Warriors just could not keep up, losing 108-95. Speaking of losing. This was a weekend washout here in the A, as our Atlanta Falcons and Hawks, two birds of prey, were eaten like some stuffed turkeys by two dominant teams here. San Antonio Spurs taking the Hawks to the woodshed on their home floor, beating them really a severe beating. I actually happened to be there at the game, 103-78. The Hawks were held to a scintillating 25 points in the first half. They were outscored 47-25 in the first half. Game was never close, never in doubt. Just really a bad showing here by the Hawks. I'm going to ask you, Ashton, I mean, you know, here's a team that last year won 19 straight games on their own, were undefeated for the month of January, a team that went all the way to the NBA Eastern Division Conference Finals. What's wrong with the Hawks this year? What are you seeing?
Lack of rebounding, kind of a lack of drive and things like that. You know, the intangibles, because they do have the talent and things like that. Adding Tiago Splitter, a person that was actually a part of the Spurs organization last year. Adding him was actually supposed to be a plus and getting Tim Hardaway and things like that, but it's just the lack of execution in the key moments and things like that. Especially, you can't go in there against a team like San Antonio, who's been there before and knows how to beat you, and just really have no glaring weaknesses with the addition of LaMarcus Aldridge and things like that to help take some of the scoring pressure off of Tim Duncan and things like that. It's really all about execution when you're playing a team like that.
Oh, no doubt about it. We're hoping to get some feedback from our other invited lady for the evening, Miss Setonia from Setonia Live and SportsWire magazine. She covers the Hawks. I always get a chance to see her, and we actually do an in-game report from time to time there, so we're hoping we'll be able to call. She's on her way to the game, as we will be heading to the game, hopefully after the broadcast as well. But, yeah, it just, you know, it was time, I guess. It was just time, but the Hawks are not really showing us what we're looking for. What I see when I look at that team is a couple of things. Not only we're not getting rebounding, that's still a problem. And this was something, as I think you pointed out, that everybody thought was going to be addressed with Iago Splitter. Right. The other thing, too, is that they have the young Eddie Tavares, but he is still not ready. He's 7'2", 240 pounds, kind of a string bean. So you're going to have to kind of muscle him up. He has been playing so far. They brought him back from the D-League, but he's not been an impact player. The other thing I think which is really puzzling me is, if you remember last year, the Hawks actually were a very good defensive team for most of the year.
Right.
And this year, one of the real drawbacks to the Hawks is not only is their lack of defense, but really their lack of perimeter defense. It's unbelievable that most teams are shooting around a 40% clip against the Hawks from three-pointers. And that's been another big key to a lot of these games being either close or ending up in a Hawk loss. Right,
and I think that the loss of Carroll, who went out to Toronto, he contributed a lot on the defensive end and things like that, because he was able to handle the Kawhi Leonards and, well, I'm not going to say handle. Let's just say slow him down a little bit. You know, at least provide a little pressure to take on those big scorers at the fours and the wingmen who are just kind of crushing the Hawks right now. The top scorers, you able to put Carroll on there. That's where he's actually missed and things like that. And like you said, on the interior, you have what do you say? He's 7'2", 240 pounds.
About 240 pounds, I think.
Yeah, the East, they are full of bruisers. You know, like the Pistons have Drummond. The Bucks have Greg Monroe. The Spurs, you know, they have David West, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Tim Duncan, and Boris Diaw. So, you know, they have to, in the interior, they really have to get more physical and things like that, and that's what they have to do, just play more physical and execute.
Yeah, there's no question. Just looking at the Hawks, the way they're playing so far this year, they really have not. And like you said, the other thing that we've missed here is the Hawks shooting has still not yet recovered. This is a team, really, if you look at them since really that long winning streak, the Hawks really have not been the same team. If you look at them in the second half, they were trying to rest guys in that last 2 weeks of the season, and it seems like they really have not gotten the spark back since then, because if you remember, they had a tough battle against Brooklyn. You know, in the first round, a team that they had handled throughout the regular season, and then, of course, beat a depleted Washington team, but had to scrap against them. And really, in my mind, last year, the Hawks had a great opportunity to really upset Cleveland because they really were playing without Kevin Love and without Kyrie Irving.
Right. And LeBron James, LeBron James there are two types of LeBron. The seasoned LeBron, he can coast through there and get 30. And then there's that intense LeBron where he comes into the playoffs and he can basically take you to the finals, which is what he has done the past 5 years and things like that. See, the thing about Atlanta teams is when they play teams that have been there before, they have to realize that they've been there as well to the playoffs and things like that. So when they get to those moments and when it's time to rise to those occasions, they actually have to play like they've been there. And because they have been there, if you get what I'm saying, right?
I got you, brother. Well, listen, I tell you what else we got to do here. It's unbelievable. We're at the first break of the hour. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570 on your dial. You also can check us out, WIGOAM.com. Keep it locked right here.
Merry, happy, jingle, joy. South Lake Mall is where you'll find exciting shopping, tasty food options, and fun-filled entertainment this holiday season. Select gifts for your entire family and for friends of all ages from over 100 stores and specialty shops, including Macy's, Sears, American Eagle, Aeropostale, New York & Company, Hot Topic, and Victoria's Secret. Still have more gifts to get? Then try Route 21, Bath & Body Works, The Children's Place, and Things Remembered to make sure everyone gets just what they're wishing for this holiday. And while you're at South Lake Mall, you can make your children's wishes come true when you bring them to Santa's Winter Wonderland, where every child who visits with Santa will receive a special gift. The little ones will be captivated by magical indoor snowfall every day, and who knows, they may even get to sing Christmas carols with Santa. For holiday hours, Santa reservation information, and all the holiday happenings at South Lake Mall this season, visit www.southlakemall.com. Located just off I-75, exit 233 in Morrow. South Lake Mall. Merry, happy, jingle, joy.
Attention promoters, event organizers, and committees. If you're looking for a place to have your next big event, you must check out the C Room Multiplex. The C Room Multiplex cordially invites you to book your next artist or to host your next big event at the C Room, specializing in the following areas: CD release parties, showcases, fashion shows, movie premieres, birthday celebrations, wedding receptions, banquets, pastor's anniversaries, special events, and more. At the C Room Multiplex, we also offer catering and decorating packages. For more information, call us 678-823-5124. That's 678-823-5124. Or visit us on the web at croomatlanta.com. That's c-roomatlanta.com. The C Room is Atlanta's premier Christian entertainment venue. The C Room, 4013A Jonesboro Road, Forest Park, Georgia. Mention this ad for special pricing.
It's official. The hottest new restaurant and sports grill on the South Side is open for business. Check out the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, Stockbridge, Georgia, inside the Holiday Inn and Suites. All new. It's got great appetizers, delicious desserts, and mouth-watering signature burgers made for your order. Grab some takeout on the way home or enjoy the beautiful lounge and dining area lined with flat-screen TVs. It's the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, inside the Holiday Inn, Stockbridge, Georgia. And we are back. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister, Jonathan Simmons here. And, of course, it's Ladies' Night and the feeling's right. And I have the lovely Miss Elaine Armster from the FAMU Foundation and also a former Yellow Jacket in the building. I also have, speaking of a former athlete, I have a young man here who matriculated right down the road at Forest Park High School. He was a blazing star on the hardwood, but now he is showing what the Lord is doing in his life and passing it on to other young men, Mr. Ashton Reynolds in the building. Well, it's, like I said, man, it was a big weekend. We want to give some shout-outs to a couple of high school football teams. One of them from right down the road, a team, I got to tell you why I'm appreciative of this team. This team, right down in Henry County, these guys, I saw them last year take on a highly potent Mount Perrin squad in the Class A private school, and they were dismantled 49-7.
Man.
49-7. They were crushed. But showing their faith, they said, that's all right. at least we got there, and they built on that. And this year they came back and actually won the Class A state title in the Georgia Dome this weekend. So kudos to Eagles Landing Christian Academy pulling out the victory in the Class A state finals in the Georgia Dome. And I got to tell you, I went there last year. It is just a remarkable thing to see these young men, in the Georgia Dome and getting a chance to do it. They beat a very, very stout St. Thomas of Aquinas squad, 35-14. A very, very close game. They actually trailed 14-13 in the fourth quarter, but scored twice late on long drives, capped off by quarterback DJ Hammond's touchdowns. Eagles Lane Christian Academy then finished off with a 100-yard interception return in the final seconds. It was actually the second interception of the quarter against Aquinas. Against St. Thomas Aquinas. The star for St. Thomas was their free safety, T.J. Smith. Now listen to this. This is unbelievable. T.J. Smith, the free safety for Aquinas High School, was credited with a staggering 21 tackles. Okay. This was game? 21 tackles in a single game. One person, free safety, T.J. Smith from Aquinas in the Class A private school. So kudos to him as he racked up 21 tackles. That was more than any of the other teams in the championship game. So kudos to him. And kudos, even though they lost, I want to give a shout-out to a good friend of this show. We've had him on. We got a chance to interview him at the Cam Newton 7-on-7 tournament. John Ford brought his Roswell squad to the brink, but they lost out to defending and now two-time state champions Colquitt County.
The Packards from my end of the state.
I was about to say, I got a South Georgia girl in the building. I knew she'd get excited about that. Colquitt High School pulled off a big victory. They won last year. I saw them win. And, for those people not aware, I don't want to get into anything negative, but Colquitt County had a tragic situation happen where I believe some students were actually involved in a murder, some former players on that team. But these guys used that as a spur to say that that does not mark the rest of our team. And they marched their way right through the 6A, which is the largest classification in the state of Georgia, 30-13 over a very game Roswell squad. The big story there was an 81-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Quintarius Neely to A.J. Smith. Okay, and Roswell scored in the first play of the game. Second play of the game from scrimmage, a 81-yard pass, but Colquitt did not allow another touchdown. Put up 26 first downs and 440 yards of total offense, and set a single-season record for points scored in the 6A classification. All-around tailback, running back, wide receiver, Ty Lee, 213 yards from scrimmage, 90 yards on the ground, 123 yards receiving. Defensive tackle, Ty Phillips had 3.5 sacks for losses. They finished the season, now check this out, speaking of staggering, Colquitt County had 700 points for the season. Okay, this is the third most in the Georgia High School Scholastic Association history and the most ever in Class 6A, breaking the record that they actually set last year in 2014. And all that information, folks, is on ajc.com. If you want to find out more about what's going on, check them out again on ajc.com. Again, we just want to give a special shout-out to Colquitt since we covered them last year. John Ford at Roswell, brother, you went up against a buzzsaw. Not much you can do. And, of course, Eagles Landing Christian Academy right down the road in Henry County, coming back after being shellacked last year in the state final, pulling out the win 35-14 over Aquinas High School. Listen, I want to take time out here for a second to throw this out to you. If you have a student, a coach, a parent that's doing something great in the world of athletics, please give us a call, or better yet, send me an email to Jay Simmons. So that's JSIMMONS at realtalksports.net, or simply give me a call, 678-410-9833, and we would love to tell your story here on the air. So we put that out to you. Well, we're going to shift a little bit now, talk a little college football. And again, see, you guys here on Periscope get the visual, because we're actually going to do something here. Elaine has been very involved with college football at the highest level. Matter of fact, really amateur football, if you want to call it that, high school as well. We actually originally met at the Atlanta Touchdown Club Awards, where she was supporting some of the high schoolers there. But she got a little something special here in the booth here. She has an autograph. Tell us a little bit about what you have.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. In '93, I had the opportunity to attend the Heisman Trophy presentation at the New York Athletic Club, and it was an amazing experience.
Wow.
It was like invading a frat house where all the fraternity members were former Heisman Trophy winners. And that was probably, as someone who loves college football, was one of the most amazing experiences ever. Just a little quick insight. After the Heisman Trophy presentation, there's a banquet actually at the New York Athletic Club. So all the former Heisman Trophy winners are there. I had the greatest fortune at the banquet of being seated at the table of the first ever Heisman Trophy winner, Jay Berwanger,
that's right,
and his wife, and the second Heisman Trophy winner, Larry Kelly.
Wow.
And it was so funny to just hear them speak just as regular folks, because all the pomp and circumstances from the announcement, Jay kept saying, "They didn't do this for me when I won." And he told this incredible story about actually being in the Navy and wasn't even able to attend, and his school received a wire saying that your athlete just won the first ever Heisman Trophy, and they were trying to really figure out what it was.
Wow.
So it really was an incredible evening. And the other little known fact is the banquet servers come out with a frozen ice sculpture shaped in the name of the winner. So what they say is in the kitchen there are 3 ice sculptures, and then they're listening to see which one they wheel out to the banquet hall, because of course at that time in 93 the 3 finalists are invited. So the 3 finalists in 93 were Ward, Schuler, and Palmer. So there were 3 ice sculptures with congratulations Schuler, Palmer, Ward, and they were listening real time to hear which one they needed to wheel out into the banquet hall.
Wow. That's unbelievable. And you actually brought something here, which I'm going to have you kind of bring it up a little bit closer to our iPad screen there. And that actually is a signed envelope of the ballot. And tell people some of the signatures you have on that envelope.
Well, we have the 3 finalists, which were Heath Schuler of Tennessee, David Palmer of Alabama, and of course the winner, who was Charlie Ward of FSU. Additionally, I got a chance to meet my all-time favorite, at that time Heisman Trophy winner, who was our star at Dallas, Tony Dorsett. And he was just there mingling and eating the chips and dip just like everybody else. It was just like being at a family reunion, just seeing Tony Dorsett and all the others just wander by and have friendly conversations. So Deloitte and Touche, who still remains the accounting firm,
that's right,
official accounting firm for the Heisman Trophy, actually puts together the package to present the winners. And just a little trivia, of course, that year the Heisman Trophy candidate was a runaway in scoring across all the regions in the country.
Unbelievable.
And it was really just an amazing experience to be a part of.
And we're going to get a picture of that, and we'll have that posted on our Facebook page at Real Talk Sports. You can check us out there. We'll also have it later on the website, realtalksports.net. It's actually a picture of the 1993 Heisman Trophy ballot, actually by region, and you'll see it's color-coded Ward, Schuler, and Palmer. And I'm looking at it here, folks, and I see a lot of red representing Charlie Ward by a huge margin. And she actually has one of them signed as well. Now, who signed off on this that I'm looking at here? I can see her signature. Can you tell us? Actually, a scripture. Would you read that for us really quickly?
Yes. It says, "Trust Jesus." Charlie Ward, Romans 5:8. And Charlie waited his turn patiently at Florida State. That's how we started playing basketball. He was waiting patiently behind a stable of quarterbacks, asked Coach Bowden would he mind if he went and shot a little basketball, and Coach Bowden agreed, and so he joined Coach Kennedy's basketball team. And when his turn came about, he was ready, and that proved to be the first season and the first national championship for Florida State was when he took the reins as quarterback. So his signature on this Heisman balloting saying, "Trust God, trust Jesus," is just a testimony to what happens when you place your faith in God, because his timing is perfect.
No question. And as it turns out, that request again, talking about why you waiting. And waiting doesn't mean standing still. Waiting means that you go about your business. So Charlie Ward decided to play basketball, and as it turns out, ended up having his professional career actually on the hardwood, playing for the New York Knickerbockers right down the road from where I grew up in Connecticut, and played on some of those great New York Knicks teams that had their legendary battles against Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls. So you just never know.
And I just wanted to add, he remains and may forever remain the only Heisman Trophy winner to be drafted in the first round of the NBA.
It's just amazing what happens when you put your trust in the Lord. Well, listen, we're going to take some time here to give away some tickets. If you'd like to win 2 tickets to the Celebration Bowl, give us a call. Phone number here is 404-361-1571. If that line is busy, because sometimes it is, you can call us at 404-361-1570. Then when you look at the list of Heisman Trophy winners, you really have a stunning array of stars here, and guys that had interesting careers away from football. But you look at some of these listed guys here, and you look, of course, right up the road here, the University of Georgia, the legendary man himself, Herschel Walker, who actually, interesting, there was a recent, I think 30 to 30 on ESPN, and he interviewed, and he felt very disappointed that it took so long for him to get the Heisman. He felt that his freshman or sophomore year that he was deserving of it back then. So, but, they didn't do that then. They didn't really give it to underclassmen. It really was a big shock not shock, but it was really something to give it to him as his junior year. Yeah. But, yeah, he talked about the fact that he felt that he should have won it in some of those other years. And, of course, the great Marcus Allen played at USC, one of the greatest running backs of all time. And speaking of USC, and a guy that maybe not maybe, but definitely had a turn for the worse after his athletic career. A guy who, to me, probably had one of the greatest moments in a bowl game. I'm talking about a guy simply known as the Juice, O.J. Simpson. And we won't obviously recant his tragic activities now in the latter years of his life. But I got to tell you, that guy on the football field was, to me, still, I think, one of the greatest running backs ever to put him on. He had a run in the Orange Bowl back when I was a little boy. He had I think it was like the second or third play from scrimmage against a number 1 Ohio State team. He took a pitch and went about 80 yards. And the anecdote was one of the great linebackers for Ohio State said, if we don't stop this guy, he's going to run us out of the building. And for the rest of the day, I think he was about 15 carries for about another 30 yards. And they did something which I think endeared people to the young O.J. Simpson. Tearfully actually left his locker room and went over to Ohio State, congratulated the team there, congratulated Coach Woody Hayes, and basically told him that Ohio State team was one of the greatest teams he ever played against. So great stuff there. Another little quick anecdote is that O.J. Simpson is the only man in the coach of the legendary coach Chuck Noll ever to go into a locker room and congratulate an opposing player. When O.J. rushed for 200 yards against the vaunted Steel Curtain, Chuck Noll did that, but then they also told them later that you'll never do it again. They played him in the playoffs later on, and O.J. was held to about 80 yards. But those were two anecdotal things. Again, one of the great running backs of all time. First guy to shatter the 2,000-yard mark, O.J. Simpson, a Heisman Trophy winner back in 1968.
Wow.
I probably shouldn't have said that because I was alive then. Amen. So don't do any adding, folks. You know what that means. The preacher's down the road, but that's okay. Still got a little juice left in the tank, so we thank God for that. Again, you're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570 on the dial. We got to take a break, but don't go anywhere because we're going to talk about your Atlanta Falcons because they ain't mine after that.
Standard of Care Psychological Services would like to help your child have the best school year yet. Each child learns differently and experiences the school environment in ways unlike their peers. In order to have an ideal school experience, your child may need a psychological or psychoeducational evaluation to determine their specific needs. Dr. Johnson Verwain, affectionately known as Dr. RJ, has over 10 years of experience helping clients develop realistic, long-lasting, and life-changing skills to improve their quality of life. Contact us today at 678-973-2491 or www.standardofcarepsychological.com or visit one of our 2 convenient locations, 531 Forest Parkway in Forest Park, Georgia, Suite 210, or 3915 Cascade Road, Atlanta, Georgia, Suite 105. Evaluations should be updated yearly. Schedule yours today. Let's get ready to rumble with 100 yards of football, the hottest sports talk radio show, live from the ATL every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. with Vincent Turner and his impeccable sports talk crew. That's right. Join your host, Vincent Turner, and his impeccable sports talk crew every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. for hot sports topics and more right here on Atlanta's incredible radio, WIGO 1570 AM.
It's official. The hottest new restaurant and sports grill on the South Side is open for business. Check out the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, Stockbridge, Georgia, inside the Holiday Inn and Suites. All new. It's got great appetizers, delicious desserts, and mouth-watering signature burgers made for your order. Grab some takeout on the way home or enjoy the beautiful lounge and dining area lined with flat-screen TVs. It's the Burger Theory Restaurant, 638 Highway 138, inside the Holiday Inn, Stockbridge, Georgia.
Taylor, New York Giants, and you with Real Talk Sports.
All right, we are back. We're going to let you play that music, let that play underneath me as I'm talking here. It gets me kind of fired up there. That is that music is from the classic NFL films. That was before ESPN, sports, and all that stuff. And these songs were written by a guy by the name of Sam Spence, who sat down with Ed Sabol and said we needed some music to kind of set the tempo as they had the highlights each week. And that is simply called NFL Horns. And they really just, every time I hear it, it kind of gets you pumped up, ready to get out there. Well, speaking of pumped up, Derrick Henry and the Alabama contingent are pumped up because he had the hat trick, winning the Doak Walker Award for the best running back in college football, winning the Maxwell Award for outstanding college football player, and, of course, offensive player, and, of course, capping it off with the Heisman. And there was a little bit of rumbling about, maybe they should have given it to someone else, maybe McCaffrey out of Stanford for his all-around play. There was even some online voters trying to get the young man, I guess, from was it Navy, to try to get him to win. But Derrick Henry was a beast.
Yes, he was. Just been completely outstanding this whole season and things like that. At first, honestly, my honest opinion, I thought it was going to be Leonard Fournette. But, Derrick Henry has just been doing this thing the entire year, especially since he met Leonard Fournette. Remember, they played LSU earlier this year, and he completely had a great game as well, and he's continued to have an excellent season as well. So he was well deserving of it. I actually knew that Derrick Henry was going to get it, although I was rooting for McCaffrey to get it because he's been outstanding as well. But a lot of people probably have saw Derrick Henry more than they seen McCaffrey and things like that. So, but either way, it was well deserving of it.
Absolutely. We don't want to sell young Mr. McCaffrey short at all. His dad obviously played here in the NFL. But more importantly, the reason why everybody thought that he was a worthy contender for this award, because Christian McCaffrey did something that most people thought was going to be impossible. He actually broke the all-time record for total yards from scrimmage in one season, held by the legendary Barry Sanders. That was well over 2,500 yards in a season. And this young man broke the record. So certainly all three guys were deserving. And a guy that had the University of Georgia done a better job of recruiting in their backyard, they might be ranked number one in the college football playoffs. Deshaun Watson from Clemson, who applied his trade right down the road from Athens at Gainesville High School. Now, you know what's bad about that? He is now the second quarterback from Gainesville to lead his team into the college football playoffs, because a lot of people don't realize that Blake Sims from the University of Alabama went to Gainesville High School.
Right.
That's probably why Mark Richt is coach in Miami now and not the Bulldogs. Well, so you guys are all in agreement. Derrick Henry was definitely the best pick for the Heisman. Elaine is nodding her head yes, and Young Gun we already got from you. That definitely is the right pick. Well, again, we kudos to everybody that won awards. I did have a chance to actually be at the College Football Awards here in Atlanta, and Coach Dabo Sweeney, I think that he got more applause for his dab and nay moves because he got down. I mean, it's funny how, if I only have more time, it's funny how things that were considered to be crass and uncool and, just ghetto.
Right.
Because some 40 and 50 and even 60-something-year-old Caucasian coaches are doing it, it's now the coolest thing.
Well, they coach these young guys, and they want them to be a part, have an impact in their lives. These coaches have major impacts in all of these players' lives and things like that. They've accepted that coach has now accepted them. So if the dab and the nay is what would they do, then the coach is gonna get down with it too.
And I'm gonna tell you, they actually had about a 1 or 2 minute little shot of several coaches who broke into various, Nene and the Dab, and it was really funny just watching all these guys. Of course, Dabo Sweeney was there, one coach of the year, and our coach of Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer, I think he was the most hilarious, him trying to do the dab. I thought that guy was having a seizure. But anyway, kudos to everybody there that handled their business and all the guys that did a great thing. Shout out to Baylor's Corey Coleman for winning the Biletnikoff Award, and Temple. Tyler Matkevich winning the Chuck Bednarik Award for the nation's best defensive player of the year. So, again, shout out to all those guys that were there. Well, no shout-outs to what I call part 2 of the washout weekend. The Hawks first, getting the brakes beat off them at home, and then the Falcons had a shutout pitched at them. Carolina destroying Atlanta 38-0. All right, well, okay, what's happening up there in Flowery Branch? What's the situation?
Week in and week out, we try to make excuses for it, but there's no excuse, especially not to put up points against a team in your division. That's crazy. I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, there's no excuses for it. They just got flat out played and things like that. And what's even scarier is that each week, when you watch the Carolina Panthers, they're getting better. They're getting more confident. They even got more swagger because, as you see, they even had a little team photo moment. Did you catch that part of the game when they had a little team photo moment on the sideline?
I didn't see that.
Oh man, they're having the ball winning, and what's funny though, it's kind of looking like Cam Newton way back when he was at Auburn when they went undefeated, they won a championship. When he was in Division II, they went undefeated, they won a championship. When he was at Westlake, they went undefeated, they won a championship. And when I first seen Cam Newton play football, I was like, oh, this man here, if he's won the championship at every level, when he reached that superstar status that I even thought that he walked into the league with, when he gets there and it clicks with that team, when he gets there, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And he's at that point right now, and everybody's healthy, with the exception of Kelvin Benjamin, but they still have Luke Kuechly, they still have Thomas Davis, and all the other receivers. They're benefiting. Jonathan Stewart's healthy, which what I've been saying was the key to their success, that running game. They always had one, but they were just unhealthy. And the Falcons, I don't know why they're falling apart. I don't know if they're actually losing faith in that coach or not, but they need to get it together. They still got a chance. Just got to get it together.
I don't know, Elaine. You've been around season ticket holders and the guys, I like to call them the big ballers. There's a lot of discontent with those that are paying the large dollars to watch the Falcons play each week.
Well, there is definitely some disappointment. We started off 5-0. Just to remind everybody out there, I mean, we were on fire. And I tell you, I remember that win over Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I thought that was going to be the win that propelled us throughout the rest of the season because we were in Arlington and we won against the infamous Cowboys. So it's kind of hard to put your finger on what exactly is going on. Perhaps we need new uniforms.
See, this is the key, folks. I was waiting for when the ladies' night would shift into a whole different direction. Not we should have a new scheme. Not that we should do something different, but the uniform change would create something. Well, I was about no, hang on a second. That I know it seems far fetched, but we know in college we've seen the whiteout, we've seen the blackout.
Right.
Maybe the Falcons should have a blackout. Literally, turn all the lights off. And say we're going to the house before the game even starts. No, but I think there's something that definitely is needed, and we got a lot of questions. Number one, obviously, what's wrong with the Falcons' offense? Yeah, everybody keeps talking about Cal Shanahan is the problem, or is there really more to it? Because keep in mind they started off 5-0 with Cal Shanahan as well. Well, listen, we have a caller on the line. A caller, state your name. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show.
Yes, sir. This is Mark, and I thank you for the welcome, Mr. Simmons.
Well, sir, we're excited to have you here, and always when we can hear now, folks, you hear that sound? That's what we call a basso profundo. That's the deep, rich sound of Mr. Mark, and we always appreciate him when he decides to call in. Well, listen, we're talking about obviously football. We gave kudos to all the guys in college football, but now obviously looking at the Falcons and what's wrong. Our lovely guest for the evening, representing the ladies, says the Falcons maybe should go to a uniform change. That might be the answer to some of their problems. What say you, sir?
Well, very quickly, greetings to your guest this evening. Basically, I think, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, what needs to happen is what I've been suggesting on other forums that we've had this kind of discussion where you've been involved as well. Is my contingent or my problem, or not even just personally. Let's start with who controls personnel. You have to start looking at some point, which I have for the last 3 to really going back to 2011. Some of the choices of the GM's position right now who've been kept over and twice held over with Rich McKay, as well as
go ahead, say the name. Dimitrov. I know you're trying to be politically correct, but say his name. What did Beyonce say? Say my name, say my name. So go ahead and say it. Say it. Mr. Blank has got to look, and realistically, let me just try to cut straight to the chase. You see what's happening over with the Braves right now? Yep.
And what they're doing, they just made a definitive decision at the beginning of this time last year when they took on John Hart as their GM, and now they have Mr. Coppola or Coppola.
The guy that talks like this and says, "Hey, I'm just trying to make the team better." That guy, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, he is. They have chosen to blow it all up,
scorch the earth,
and I think that's what needs to happen with the Falcons. With many of the personnel that they have, it's time. The offense looks inept. Matt Ryan, I've been wondering for weeks what's going on with him, and everybody makes defense excuses for him. Of course, yes, every team in the league, there's a premium on offensive linemen. They don't just grow these guys on trees. So everybody in the league has the deficiency and in that area. But Matt Ryan needs a good O-line to give him space to throw the ball. But the team just looks totally inept defensively in the trenches, offensively in the trenches. And it really is time for them to look to blow that thing up. And make some moves at the top with the GM spot as well. And it may very quickly, if I may revert very quickly to the Hawks as well, with your discussion that you guys had. Let's quickly look at that. In that the Hawks, too, they won 60 games last year in what realistically was an Eastern Division, which was its weakest almost ever in the history of the NBA. So it's hard to think that the Hawks will get back to a 60-win plateau. I'm going to go out and say that they're going to win. They'll win maybe 40-plus games this year. They may come in as a third or fourth seed, but the East is better this year, and you tried to replace Damari Carroll with two players, which never is good. So sports teams in this town right now and fans are really having a tough go.
Well, the problem is that really with all these teams, nobody wants to pay any money here in Atlanta. You have, especially in the case of the Braves, there to me is some trickeration going on. There's some rumors by the Marietta Journal, the same people that broke the story that the Braves were doing this backdoor deal to go to Cobb. There's a rumor that there is a very influential businessman based in Cobb, and that part of it, not only blowing up the team for the team to be better, but they are lowering the value of the team so this gentleman can buy the teams. That's one of the rumors that's been floating on or out there, and looking at the way that they're aggressively getting rid of guys, especially a guy who shares my last name, Andrelton Simmons, a guy who would by far probably one of the best defensive shortstops in our era in the last 10 years, and to me got very little in return for him. You give up a guy in Shelby Miller, a guy who was an all-star with a under 500 record. Now people are talking about the prospect they've signed, including the center fielder, looks like a possible good fit, but they had a center fielder who just recently signed with the Chicago Cubs by the name of Jason Hayward, a hometown guy who, again, they didn't want to pay. So that's one of the problems that I see here. But I look at Atlanta. the Falcons. I'm just going to tick off a couple of names for you, and let's just see if these guys would fit in well with the current defensive situation they have. They drafted a young man by the name of Curtis Lofton out of Oklahoma. When Curtis came around for some additional money, as you do when you come off of that first contract, they said no, let him go to the Saints, where he led the NFL in tackles before Mr. Kuechly came along to Carolina. Right. How about another guy by the name of Sean Witherspoon, a guy that they felt was going to be a matching combo, which he was with Curtis Lofton that first year, decided to let him go, said he's too often injured and wouldn't want to pay the money. He's, again, starting and making some impact on the team he's with now. How about a guy who got injured by the name of Brent Grimes, a guy who all the ladies loved here, did the shampoo commercial, probably had one of the best vertical hops of anybody I've ever seen. Falcons say, no, he can't recover from injuries, so let Miami sign him. And what does he do? He goes and have 2 consecutive All-Pro seasons for the Miami Dolphins. Okay, meanwhile, we watch Robert Alford do his best version of Cinnamon Toast Crunch yesterday, being burnt alive by Ted Ginn for 2 big bombs for 120 yards. And last but not least, let's look at this last particular draft. The Falcons had an opportunity in the second round to make what I felt would have been a definitive draft statement to say we are back. There was a young man who had fallen from grace out of the first round, who everybody felt possibly might be the best pass rusher in college. He came out of Nebraska by the name of Randy Gregory. The Falcons decided to pass on him, stating off-the-field problems, and instead picked up Jalen Collins, who, number 1, was already injured, and number 2, he himself had problems smoking that weed in LSU. So the deficiencies are ridiculous. Now, of course, we could go on and on, picking Jake Matthews, who they felt was going to be a stud, not picking Khalil Mack, who has been the defensive pass-rushing genius that they need here. He's doing everything he can for the Oakland Raiders, and I can go on and on and on. Not signing John Abraham because he likes to party hardy, but when he gets on the field,
he was still productive, and you haven't had a real pass rusher since he's gone and left. And the one guy that you did decide to pay has been hurt subsequent to you signing him to a big contract in Willie Moore or William Moore.
Right. So you look at here, and really since 2008, they have not really done the job. Because if you look at that 2008 draft, you thought that this is what we were going to see from the Falcons year after year. You have several guys who are still either on that team or playing someone else. Let's go look. First-round draft pick, of course, Matt Ryan, who, regardless of the problems he's having right now, really was a one-man wrecking crew when he brought this team back and stabilized this team and got him to the playoffs in his first year. Sam Baker, we know he was a bust off injured. Curtis Lofton, Harry Douglas, Thomas DeCoux, Croy Bierman. Yeah. All those guys were in that 2008 draft, and they were stalwarts on the Falcons when they made that run from 2009 to 2012. And after that, it just seemed like everything went downhill. Remember the classic first-round pick Pierre Jerry, who on HBO Hard Knocks says, I don't want to play anymore.
Yes, just quit on him overnight.
Right, overnight. So this is what we have seen from the Falcons. Guys like Dominique Franks, guys like Corey Peters. Corey played fairly well for a while, but none of these guys really have been guys that have been impact players on these teams. So, you really have some question marks here with what's happening with the front office. And I do think that Thomas Dimitroff, as much as Arthur Blank loves him like a son, I think he's gone.
He should be gone. He should have already been gone when Mike Smith hit the door.
Well, there you have it. Well, listen, Mark, we appreciate you always for giving us a call, man. I'm going to have you do this. Please leave your number with our producer. I'd love to stay in contact with you and see what you're doing here in and around Atlanta and even around the country in sports.
Yes, sir. We love the show. Keep up the good work. We'll look to be in contact.
There we go. Well, that's Mark Basin, aptly named for that deep, rich voice that he has there. Good stuff, man. Falcons, like I say again, they just have kind of gone to the left as far as their draft. And I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do except to, possibly get rid of Dimitroff. Again, his first couple of years, as you heard, some great picks. But I just think really the problem was not so much even a pick. They wouldn't sign the guys. Right. They just want to sign them back. And I'm just like, hey, man, these are guys you drafted. Couldn't sign them. So I don't know. Anyway, that's the story there with our Atlanta Falcons. Well, listen, normally we have a break, but we have so little time we're going to kind of get right to it. Really quick, in about 60 seconds, tell people again about your foundation, Ashton.
Well, Blessed Coast, what we really do is we use all forms of entertainment, from music to comedy, all sorts, dancing, poetry. And basically what we do is just push a positive word as well as the word of God, letting you know that success is not a tournament, keep you motivated to strive and thrive in this life that God has blessed you to have. Take all of your tests that you have, turn into a testimony, and just spread it all around, letting people know that you can do it too. And the way you can keep in contact with me, you can go on the website, which is www.blessedcoast.com, and we spell it BLESSEDKOAST.
I think we have a motivational speaker in the making, concise, to the point, all the information, well done. And Elaine, obviously, again, great football background, Southern Georgia girl. Your dad was a coach in high school for a long time, had some great teams down there. But tell us people a little bit about the FAMU Foundation, what you're doing for those guys.
Well, thank you so much. It is really my honor to be a board member of the FAMU Foundation. Florida A&M is located in Tallahassee, Florida. We sit on the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, Florida, where we proudly have our first ever female president, our 11th president, Dr. Elmira Mangum, and we are doing great things under her leadership. And of course, Florida A&M has a rich athletic history. We could rattle off names that will be familiar to all of your guests, at the top being our legendary coach, Jake Gaither. And the Rattlers are very venomous. Our strike and our bite is something to be careful of. In the Metro Atlanta area, we have a great alumni chapter led by President Skip McLemore. And with the foundation, we're responsible to be the fiduciary holders of all the investments and donations that are given to Florida A&M University. And with that, I want to present to you your very own FAMU package, so that when you are at the Celebration Bowl, if you would like to represent the fine institution of the MEAC, Florida A&M, you have your very own straight out of FAMU t-shirt, and there's some other lovely gifts inside of your gift bag, because that's how we do it at Florida A&M. We love spreading the love. We are the College of Love and Charity.
How about that? Well, real quick, do you have a website where people can kind of find out about FAMU? I know I kind of put you on the spot there, but if you got it, we'll take it.
Yes. Please go to FAMU.edu, FAMU.edu, and you can click on Giving to the University, and it'll take you directly to the FAMU Foundation webpage.
There you have it right there. Well, listen, folks, we're about here to wrap it up here. I want to let you know that, remember, the Celebration Bowl, the Black College Football Championship, the de facto championship, SWAC conference against the MEAC, Alcorn State facing off against North Carolina A&T. You can join us down there. We'll probably try to be doing some live broadcasting and some social media stuff, so check it out again. If you want more information, celebrationbowl.com. Tickets are still available. And remember, you can hit me up on email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net. We still have one set of tickets remaining. Well, before I leave, I like to tell you folks, the preacher wants to make sure that your soul is right. If you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, ma'am, please, sir, get to know him today. What better time to get to know him during the Christmas season, because he is, in fact, the reason for the season. Nobody loves you like Jesus, not your mom, not your grandma, not even Auntie and them. Nobody loves you like Jesus. Well, listen, you know how I like to do each and every week. I'm excited to be here with you, and I'm grateful to be alive. God bless you, and good night.